Hi peeps, welcome back to my channel. So, for years people have joked about me being like a vampire because A, you can't get blood from my veins. I have rolling veins. They do not give up blood. B, I'm highly allergic to garlic. I can't even be around the scent of it without going into a reaction. And see, well, like yesterday my temperature was down to 95.5. So maybe there's something to it. What do you think? So welcome back to my channel, peeps. Oh yeah, today I'm just going to chat a little bit and talk about life and answer a couple reader questions and maybe discuss a little bit about what I'd like to do in the next few videos over the next few weeks. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Give the video a thumbs up if you would, because that's good for my algorithms. Leave comments if you like. You know, just generally, let's form this community here and be chatty. So I will be right back, and we'll get started here in just a moment. Oh, so it has been an interesting past few weeks for everybody in the nation. Yeah, our state, in terms of the pandemic, slowly reopening. Now, my county in particular is at stage 1.5 out of 4, which means that the salons can open on a very limited basis and with strict protocols. I went to the salon yesterday, and I get there and sitting there putting on my mask, my hairstylist comes out, she takes my temperature. My temperature turned out to be 95.5, which was a little on the chilly side, but I normally run about a 97 anyway, so I was sitting in an air-conditioned car. But it just made me laugh because, yeah, with my garlic allergy and my rolling veins that do not want to give up blood, and then my temperature being lower than normal, I kind of resemble some of my characters that I write about, I think, which is a little bit on the scary side. But so yeah, that was kind of funny. She checks my temperature. It's fine. Just needs to not be over, you know, the normal. So I follow her in, and they keep the door locked in between appointments, which is a good thing. No walk-ins, nobody can come running in. So I get inside and instantly either hand wash for 20 seconds or use hand sanitizer. Have my appointment done. Now, it was very weird wearing a mask during the appointment. I don't do masks well, and I have to do the paper ones, or the, you know, they're almost like weird cardboard ones, because the cloth ones trigger my asthma, which is not a good thing, and I panic. So I made sure to wear a really good paper mask. And she was wearing a mask and one of the plastic face guards, which I appreciated. The stations are disinfected between every single client. Every time you take a client to the rinse bowl where they wash out your hair, that's disinfected before and after. And so I felt like they were doing a pretty good job. Now, there's only a 25% capacity allowed in the salon, so the spaces were wide and far apart, and I do love that the place I go has a super high ceiling. It used to be a warehouse, so it's high, it's wide, it's spread out anyway, and that made me feel even more comfortable. So I had my hair done, and I will not kid you, mermaid hair, and that's, you know, the pink and, or not pink, purple and blue layers, takes a while. It took 3 hours to get my hair back to where it needed to be, and that wasn't even with me doing anything to it in between except touching up the color, the blue with the colored conditioner. So it was a good time, except it did feel very odd, I have to admit. You know, even like my nail appointment too, which was last week, it felt strange being out. It felt daring almost, and also daunting. It's like realizing, looking at everyone who's wearing a mask and taking protection, you know, taking precautions and wearing gloves and stuff. It was very science fiction-ish. And it reminded me there is a pandemic going on. This is not business as normal. We are not going back to normal. We are, I know some people hate this term, but we are creating a new normal. There's no other option. We can't go back to the way it was. It's not going to for a long time. There are states now seeing spikes because they reopened too soon. I'm hoping our state doesn't do that. We can only wait and see. And I'm glad that it's happening in stages here. The counties that have the least rise in cases and the least amount of deaths get to open up a little faster. But it's still, you know, not like it was. It's never going to be like it was, you know. And I think the adjustment to that is going to take some mental acrobatics. It's not like I went a lot of places anyway because of my MCAS, but just the feel to things was different. So yeah, I had my hair done. I'm so grateful and I'm so glad that I was able to do that. It means a lot to me. I don't get to go a lot of places. I don't get to go on vacations. I don't get to go to restaurants. I don't, you know, there's a lot of things that people take for granted that I can't do. So those two things for me, my hair and my nails, are luxuries and pampering that I gave myself and that I'm still trying to give myself. So, yeah, it's nice to have that back and nice to feel like me again. So, oh, and I'm playing with my necklace a lot. I tend to do that. So, you know, this is bog oak as well. And it's the Tree of Life. It was made in Ireland. I love bog oak. I've talked about bog oak before in one video, but my passion for it continues. So let's see, what else am I going to do today? Oh yeah, I was going to answer some reader questions. A lot of people ask me about my tattoos. So let's talk about tattoos for a moment. I've had some of my tattoos, the oldest ones I got in 1999, and like, no, this is one that I got in 1999, and it is still as vibrant as ever. My snake, God, I'm losing directions on my body. My snake and the flowers I got in 1999, and I got one that's on my leg in 1999. If you take care of your tattoos and you don't go out in the sun too much, they tend to stay brighter and better. And I'm not a sun bunny. I can't be out in the sun anyway very long. But I've been asked before what they mean. And, okay, every tattoo I have has a spiritual significance for me. It's either connected to an animal spirit that I'm connected to, or like this one is, to me, the Dark Fae Queen. And I work with the Dark Fae. So I wanted an image of what I felt a Dark Fae Queen would be. No, I did not draw it. My tattooist custom did it, and this took about 11 total hours to do. Let's see. The skull. There's a deer skull over here with the moon behind it, and it rose. That is the sign of the Dark Huntress, one title I give Maliki. And to me, that I had placed there where my ex basically beat the crap out of me, bruised my arm from top to elbow. And that's a reminder that I'll never let that happen again. And that nobody's ever doing that again to me without getting their ass kicked in return. So, I also have Mama Bear and 2 cubs. And the bear is an extremely important animal spirit to me. I revere bear. Bear is not one of my personal animal spirits, not one of my personal connections, but it is, bear is the primary totem of the Finnish, a lot of the Finnish religions, the ancient ones. And the bear is part of what was called the Great, Indo-European bear cult, I believe. Now, bear was revered highly across Northern Europe. And for me, bear is like an oversoul that I honor and worship and revere. She is ancient. She guards the road to the underworld. She guards her tribe. She guards her people. She guards those who can't take care of themselves. And I work with bear a lot. Especially this year, I've been working with bear more. So and it has to be, for me, it's Mama Bear and her 2 cubs. I'm not sure why, but that's just what it is. So, it's like I've got Mama Bear and her 2 cubs there. And there are, on the rocks in front of them, some of the Norse runes. There's protection. Allergies for protection. There's the sun, which is success. And Tyr, which is a rune of honor and truth. And being true to yourself. Being who you are. Boa. Boa is one of my animal spirits. So is where are we? We're over here. Black Panther. And so I have, Panther is right over in here. And Peacock as well. And there's a peacock fan behind the panther here. And you'll notice, you can't exactly see it. And I'm not going to yank down my dress. But around Panther's paw, I've got a green boa here too. Anyway, so Panther, Peacock, and Snake are my primary connections. Except a few years ago, Skunk came into the picture. There, okay. So Skunk joined my personal spiritual path. And she was probably there all along, but I think she had to come as I grew into my own self more. Because for me, Skunk she doesn't take any crap. She is who she is. She is, she walked down a road and people will hurt when they see her. They do not want to mess with her. But she's also a representative to me of balance and well-roundedness, because skunks can be very affectionate and caring, and they can be very magnetic, and they can pull in people. They're, part of their spiritual meaning attributed to them by a number of systems is attraction and repulsion. So, it's like they pull in those they want and they push out those they don't want. I have, okay, this is, the axe through the butterfly, my symbology for the gods that I follow. Not the goddesses, but the gods. It's the double-edged axe, and those are the butterfly wings. And I picked a butterfly because one of Ukko's messengers is a butterfly. And the blue rose, which is right up here in the crook of my elbow, The blue rose to me is a very magical symbol of femininity, and yet it is also magical, and it's transformative, and it's mystical, and it's a flower that I would expect to see in a secret garden. And I have a number of other tattoos. You know, I've got some up on my shoulders, which are bind runes for my gods, which I consider that they yoke me to the gods. You know, I wear my gods on my shoulders. Foxglove, which is in several of my tattoos. My favorite flower, and it's a fairy flower, and I work with the fae. So that's a bit about my tattoos. Now, someone asked if my character's tattoos are based on mine. No, they are not. They are based on what's important for the character. The Wild Hunt, everyone in the Wild Hunt agency has the same tattoo, and that binds them together. Camille's tattoos are linked to the Moon Mother. Oh, just, you know, every person or every character that I write about that has a tattoo, those tattoos are connected to that character and their story. So I don't, while most of my characters have tattoos of some sort, I don't base them on my tattoos. They're based on what's important in the book and in the story for the character. Question I get asked quite a bit, actually, is one, are my characters' traits based on what I would like to be or what I am, or are they all made up? Well, there's a bit of me in every character, even the villains. There's got to be, because I'm the writer. Now, some of the characters are more like me, but I don't deliberately do that. I think they just fall in that way because it feels more natural to me. Camille is like me in a number of ways. Raven is a lot like me, a whole lot like me in many, many ways. So, and I think if you connected some of these characters, Karis, to a degree, has some of my personality traits. Let's see. In the Indigo Court, I'd say it would be more the Lionule, the Summer Queen. So it varies in the series. It's not always the main character. But I don't deliberately sit down and go, I want to write a character just like me. Now, I have to be able to connect with that character in order to write them, especially in first person, if they are the main character, which that's where I had problems with Delilah, and I bring her up a lot, but she was my most troublesome character. She was the one who irked me the most, who irritated me the most, and who sometimes I wanted to just throttle. She's just so not like me in so many ways, except for my love of cats. I mean, I would adore Delilah if she were in kitty form all the time, or Black Panther form, but not necessarily as herself. She was too naive for me. She irritated me in her timidness. But I'm glad that she grew throughout that series. At the same time, I'm also asked if any of my characters that I write are based on friends or people that I know. Not really. I tend not to do that. I don't even tend to put my villains on people I don't like. My villains are usually worse than most people that I don't like. Far worse. Now, there are a couple exceptions, and you're going to laugh at this, I suppose, but okay. Maggie the Gargoyle was based on a friend's calico cat. He had a lovely old calico when back when I was just starting to write the series. And she was getting up there, and she was a wonderful, wonderful kitty named Maggie. And he jokingly one day said, put Maggie in the series. Well, I liked Maggie a lot. I was very fond of her, and all of a sudden I found myself writing the scene on the Space Needle, and Camille found this bag with a baby gargoyle in it, and it was a calico gargoyle, and just happened to have the name Maggie. So Maggie the gargoyle is based on a friend's calico cat, who is long ago passed over the Rainbow Bridge, but she will live forever in Maggie. And then in Whisper Hollow, Agent H, one of the Maine Coons, Karis's kitties, is sort of named after a friend's cat who passed a few years back, and it was sort of my way of honoring the cat and trying to help my friend out a little bit. He sorely missed his kitty, and Agent H was a nickname for the cat, so I decided that I would name one of the cats Agent H for him. I don't otherwise. Well, there is one other exception. I subconsciously based a character in the Indigo Court series on someone I knew long ago. Someone who lived a very rough life, very harsh life, and did not come to an easy end. And I didn't even realize that I had done that until afterwards, and it was like, oh, okay. That was my way of working out some of my feelings about that person. I had a question about interpreting reverse cards in tarot readings, and I will probably go into that more in a different video where I'm going to be doing some tarot reviews of tarot decks, and I'll talk about reverse cards in that video, so I'll get to that one. So that's probably going to be about it for today, except I do want to address something, and I think it goes with what I started out with getting my hair done and nails done. Take care of yourself during this time. When life is in chaos around us, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to make sure we're grounded, make sure we're eating as well as we can. Get rest, especially if you're out on the front lines protesting, especially if you are out there, in the trenches, so to speak. Take care of yourself so that you can continue the work. And sometimes taking care of yourself means stepping back and letting someone else take your place for a while you rest. There is nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, some people can't step back because they live with this every day of their life. There's no walking away from the fight if you are Black, or if you are Native American, or if you are, outwardly, disabled or something. There's no walking away from these fights because it's there every single day. But do try to take care of yourself. Sometimes hand the sign to somebody else to hold for you while you sit down and take a break. Breathe. And remember, as uncomfortable as times of unrest can be, that's when change is made. That's when we shift society. That's when we try to make things better. And I can only hope that that's where we're headed now. The pendulum swung too far to the right, and now we're trying to pull it back to at least an even keel. Bright blessings. Be safe. Be careful. Wear your masks. And stand up for what you think is right. And sometimes standing up for what you think was right is doing it in a quiet way, and sometimes it's out there in the streets yelling. So find out what works for you. Bright blessings. Take care. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.